I get nervous when Tanya's reading murder mystery. I feel like I have to watch my back.
You should. I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
That's funny. Welcome to Classical Etc. You're in the studio with Memoria Press.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Classical Etc. I'm Jessica Aboud, and I've got Paul, Tanya, and Martin. We're the core four. We're all here today.
We
I feel like we've got some good energy.
Do you think?
You think so?
I feel like it. Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't
everybody
feeling
doing?
anything unusual this morning, but
Okay.
I'll
Well, give it your all today, Martin.
give it my all.
Hopefully. How are we doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Getting ready for Cincinnati.
I know.
So
We're leaving
yeah.
a day or two.
a lot to do.
I feel like I'm still recovering from Easter festivities.
Yeah, it was a big weekend.
Mhm.
I just, not being a minister's wife anymore during Easter, Holy Week, I was like, this is great.
Right.
What I have missed for 40 years, I just truly enjoyed every second of it. I just thought, this is so nice not to be, just running all the time and living with a stressed out minister husband. That's, the hardest week of the year.
It's your Super Bowl.
That's right.
You got everything that week.
Yeah, we've truly enjoyed Easter this year.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. Well, has anybody squeezed in any reading over the last week or so?
Not much.
Really?
I mean, I listen to the Confederacy of Dunces every once in a while.
Are you
Still trying
liking
to
it?
get through that? Yeah, I mean,
It was popular.
I just have no idea where it's going.
What are you listening to when you drive home and to work? You've got this commute you could be listening to.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to the Baroness Orsi's mystery
Was
thing.
that good?
No, I mean,
No.
I haven't finished it because, like, to do that, I need a dedicated, probably like however long the chapter is, 45 minutes or something, because it's
Complicated.
well, and it's just like one story, right? Like, and I want to just focus on that one story and be done with it. And then so Confederacy of Dunces is I'm listening to. I don't know where it's going. I'm just kind of like on for the ride.
Okay.
And we got a lot going on in our lives right now. So like some of my drive is just trying to figure out what's going on in my life.
Just,
Sure.
yeah. Solitude.
Yeah.
That is one of the reasons I have a commute too, and I enjoy sometimes just the silence.
Just the silence. I do too.
It's sometimes I don't even turn anything on.
Right. And during the summer, I don't even turn the air on at first because I've been so cold in the air conditioning. I get in the car and it feels so good.
Oh my gosh.
It's like
and
your
your
car
heat.
is hugging you.
the warmer weather, that's what's helped me. I've gotten quite a bit of reading done last week.
Because you sit on your porch, don't
Yeah,
you?
because in what's actually great is it's been cool,
Mhm.
but the afternoon sun comes on that porch
And warms it up.
and warms it up, and I, put on a pair of dark jeans or something so you really feel the sun, the heat from the sun, and so that's been very helpful. It's hard for me to read inside, so the winter is kind of hard, but yeah, so I've been working on a few things here.
Yeah, what is it? What's in your pile?
I love this little book. It's by Jason Baxter at Benedictine College. He's a professor there. He was the author of The Medieval Mind of C.S. Lewis, and he wrote this little book, Why Literature Matters. And it
Still
is
matters.
Still matters. It's just fabulous. I've been really been
Interesting.
enjoying that. And then I've been trying to finish up Christian Paideia by Brian Welter. And the more I read it, the better I think of it. I mean, the research this guy had to do for this is really pretty amazing. And you should look at the footnotes, and he speaks several different languages. So his sources are French and some in older ones in Latin, and so it's really a masterful scholarly book. And
You're
then
still on page 15?
That's correct. I got from page 7 to 15 and I've stalled out there. But I think it's a great book too so far.
I mean, it's just there's stuff in there. I've read a lot on the history of education, and he's got stuff in here I've never heard of. So it's really great. And then Doug Limov, The Science of Reading. I saw him speak in Phoenix, Arizona recently. It's Teach Like a Champion. I think that's his organization. And so this whole thing of Science of Reading, because So I hear that term. It's like brand new. I'm thinking, do we have another word that we want to use for phonics? Why can't we say phonics? That was my initial reaction to this. Why can't we just use the word we've always used? Well, and part of that is because what has happened in the whole reading debate is that the importance of background knowledge has finally been recognized. E.D. Hirsch has been talking about this for a couple decades now, and like people have finally caught on. Once you learn how to sound out words, the next most important thing is having the background knowledge to understand the references in what you're reading. So a wide body of knowledge helps you read. And that connection had not been made until Hirsch made it. And now they're finally acknowledging what Hirsch has been saying all these years.
So something beyond the mechanics.
Something beyond the mechanic. I mean, in other words, phonics is necessary, but it's not sufficient. If you learn just the phonics and you don't read anything,
you could still come away.
You still have a hard time reading because you don't understand what the reference is.
I feel like that was one of the 7 myths of Christy.
She may have, because she came along around the time that this was being acknowledged.
I never can say her last name.
Christodoulou.
Thank you. Because she, did some. Maybe was it her that talked about the difference in like homes where children are being read to with educated parents versus homes where they're not, and the difference that makes.
Yeah, and so this book, the science, this term, the science of reading, is everywhere now, and so I was thinking they were trying to retitle phonics again.
Yes. What have you been reading?
Well, I finished Theo of Golden by Alan Levi.
I've seen the cover for that everywhere.
I love that book.
Okay.
It was very good. But we've got I just gave mine to Kaylee because it's like hugely on back order at the library.
Yes.
It's really popular now.
This is a brand new book?
Mm-hmm. It is new. I don't know how new it is because he self-published it first, according to Catherine, which I didn't know. I mean, my copy is Simon & Schuster, so obviously somebody picked it up. It's very good, very uplifting, but we've got a discrepancy in how we feel about the ending. And so,
interesting.
Yeah, so Tara and Catherine are bothered by the ending, and I think it's okay. It doesn't bother me. So we'll see what Kaylee says.
What's the name of the book again?
Theo of Golden.
What's it about?
It's very good. It's about a man, an 86-year-old man, who moves into the town of Golden, which is based on Columbus, Georgia. And there's a coffee shop that has all these penciled portraits of the people that live there. And he starts buying them and presenting them to the people who live there and hearing their stories. And he's just and then he helps them whenever he can help them. And there's a big secret, like he doesn't use his last name, like who is this man? So through the whole thing, you're wondering who he is and what he says he's an entrepreneur and he goes to New York. He spent years in New York and there's just all this mystery, but in the middle of it, the characters are just so uplifting and it's such a positive book. It's a feel-good book. And I thought it was very good. It's a little long. It could be edited down a little, but I enjoyed it. So then I started reading these little children's books because I need to see what we want to do. We want some more alternate study guides, and I always have summer teachers. So I've read Mouse House by Rumer Godden. Boxcar Children.
Oh.
You like that one?
I used to read it as a kid. Yeah, I always read Boxcar Children.
So maybe. And then Rebecca Caudle. Have you read her?
I know that name
Happy
really
Little
well.
Family. She's Kentucky. It's Kentucky.
Yes, that's why I know her name.
I'm looking for a second grade but alternate to Little House in the Big Woods, because some people don't really like that prairie theme. And so I don't, So I'm just reading some things that people have recommended to me, but I started the Seahawk this morning as well. So
nice.
I'm planning to enjoy that, but I thought for the Cincinnati convention, that would be a good one. I need something light
to take with you. Yeah. Last time on the show, I mentioned I was 147th in line at the library for The Correspondent that book.
Yes.
Well, I got it on audiobook for a drive to a conference recently, and I finished it. It was fine.
Really?
Yeah. I think one of the problems, and this is my fault that I didn't know, the entire book is letters. So I think to read it would have made a huge difference because you read a letter, you don't listen to a letter.
That's right.
But it doesn't, that notwithstanding, the main character, the person who wrote the majority of the letters, I just didn't like her at all. And I think for me to read a fiction book, well, or nonfiction, I guess, but where the main character's unlikable. I really struggle with that
too.
It's so hard to come away from. It's not hard to finish necessarily, but it's hard to come away from that with a positive view on the book itself when you see just the destruction that they create.
Well, that's why great authors pair that with somebody who's balancing it, right? You think of like Anna Karenina, right?
You've got Kitty and Lev as the balance. Yes. I feel like you need that because if you don't have it, then I understand that we can get from characters how not to live. I get that.
Right.
But I don't want just to see that negative how not to live. I need to see somebody living in a way that I would emulate. Like Theo of Golden.
Right.
That was one thing that really helped me in that book and helped me enjoy it more is that I thought, to emulate his character there are so many good things in it that I could do better.
The name Flannery O'Connor keeps flashing in my mind.
Oh gosh! Well, she's a master. She's a master.
The point being that very few of her characters are
positive
attractive at all.
That's
yes,
right.
but she presents them in a way that you're not supposed to like them, or there is somebody still likable in the story,
or they're just crazy.
I'm trying to think of a likable Flannery O'Connor.
The one that comes to mind is the child who's growing up in a non-believing home, but he hears about God and he wants to go to heaven. And so he ends up like jumping out of the second floor window.
Yes.
And like the child's very likable. The dad is very unlikable. And so there is some oftentimes.
So if there is a good character, they jump out of a window.
Typically they end up dying in some drastic fashion in O'Connor. Yes.
I think reading O'Connor is not.
It's a completely different.
It's like I need it in short bursts, and I need to discuss it, because every one of them does have a point,
right?
Yes,
yeah.
But I think that I started reading these children's books, and I read them all weekend, and I just thought, I need an adult read.
Yeah.
I need.
Well, that
I'm segueing into our topic
gets us into our topic.
I just can't do a lot of that at once.
Right.
And the same, and with the Seahawk, I told Paul yesterday, he printed them because it's out of print, so he printed them for us, so they're in the format of just like an in-house printed book, like we would do for a proof. And I started to read it Saturday morning, and I was like, I just can't read this. I feel like I'm working. Even though the book itself is not work, it was in a format that just disturbed me. It made me feel like I was working. So I ordered it on Amazon, and I'm just going to read
She got
I just got a book.
a used book.
No, it's not used. Somebody just reprinted it.
Oh,
I think Amazon, because it doesn't have a copyright page.
Oh, interesting.
It's just got that little Amazon thing and barcode in the back. I think
So they probably have awful margins and.
It's not too bad.
Okay.
And it's got a beautiful. The image of the guy on the front is he's like he looks like Jack Sparrow.
Well, let's get on to our topic because you almost got us
that's
there.
Right.
Today we're talking about something that most readers have encountered, whether you're a child or an adult. You struggle at some point with how to balance your reading diet because, at least for me, if I'm honest, it's easy for me to fall into one extreme or another. Either I'm reading things that I know are just good for me, or I fall into things that are just easy because I need to rinse my brain out.
Yes.
We've all been there. Well, at least I can say I have. So today we want to talk about a healthy reading diet. Do you need one? What parts make up a healthy reading diet? And I guess my first question to the group is if we could speak to the skeptic who might say, who cares? I'm not going to get literary scurvy if I just read one category of literature. So is there harm in imbalanced reading?
Can we be a little more broad? Are we talking
Yeah.
just literature or reading in general, right? So the sort of the harm or imbalance that I like, and I think I've talked about this before, but like when I started working at Memoria, like most of my reading was philosophical or theological. And I got to a point in my life where I said, I actually need to put a lot of that aside and read fiction.
Mhm.
Like I needed story in my life. I needed to get out of sort of the abstract and into what gives meaning, which is story, right? I mean, that's what the Gospels are. It's a story, right, of God coming down to us. Like, and so being in sort of the abstract theology at one point just got me to a point where it was no longer human, and I needed the balance of the human story.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so, I think if you go more broad, right, and that was one of the things with Common Core, because they started putting like percentages on, you need this much nonfiction or this much science and this much literature and stuff like that. And in some ways, like that impulse is good. Like there should be a balance, and kids need to learn they need to be able to read all those kinds of works. But at the same time, I think as an adult, you need to listen to kind of the same way you try to listen to your body about what kind of food you should be eating. The same thing about what you're reading.
But with kids, that is a good point that you've made, and and you're right. We need to just bring that on with us. But like, they learn to read, and then they're reading storybooks in first grade, and then in second grade they continue to read. They're reading chapter books, but at the same time, in second grade we start practicing expository reading with that little book,
Patterns of Nature
in Science, and I can't never get
Story of Great Americans
for Little Americans. Yes, for American history. So we are training them to read other than literature.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how to read a science text or how to read a history text, because they are different.
Mm-hmm.
They're not story, even though a history text can be written as story.
Mm-hmm.
But they do need all of it, and I think we do too. But would I be perfectly happy with my British murder mysteries all the time with the job that I've got? Yes. Because I'm getting all this other stuff in my job.
Yeah.
But I would be missing so much, even from, like, take a Dickens book, which is not an easy read, but there is so much in it that I would get from it that I don't get from a British murder mystery. It's why you have to read good literature more slowly, because there's so much there. The sentences are beautifully tooled, whereas I can just speed through a murder mystery because it's just a story that's being told in my 21st century language.
Mm-hmm. There's
I
not
need
that
both.
refining that happens when you have to slow down.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I went on vacation, I took like 2 or 3 modern novels with me that were by C.J. Box. He's the one modern author that I'm
Mysteries,
okay
yes.
with, and a Graham Greene novel, and I think Singrid Unset.
Oh, wow.
And like I just trucked through the modern. Like I was reading a book a day, and then once I was done with those, I hit Graham Greene, and I just absolutely slowed down.
Yeah.
Because but did I get anything other than passing the time and some enjoyment out of the modern ones? No, that's all I got.
But that's okay. You are on vacation. It was a break, and we all need that break.
Sure.
I think you're reading The Women right now by Kristen
I
Hanna.
have 23 pages left.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I've got that book, and I will read it, and it will be entertainment for me and lighter. And that's a good thing. We do need that break and that rest. And, she's a great author.
Right.
So but she's no Jane Austen.
True.
But that actually brings me to Martin, and Martin's recommendations, because early on my relationship with Martin was one in which I expected if he were to recommend something to me, it would be out of the great category, not his entertainment category. And I have learned over time that when Martin recommends me a book, because Martin is also doing the same thing with Tanya, where he's got some stuff that's entertainment and some stuff's, for either it's for work, like science of reading stuff, or it's, just because he's interested in those great ideas. And so when he recommends something to me, I have to ask him, is this out of the entertainment category, or is this out of this is really worth my time category?
Well, so with food and nutrition, we've got the food pyramid, which I think actually is probably outdated. I've heard recently that we changed it. We really totally reinvented that thing, but you get what I'm going for. The food pyramid for nutrition. What would be in your must categories for reading? Like a balanced reading diet includes, what would it be?
For me, it's my British mysteries or Kristen Hanna, or something modern.
Is that at the narrow
Theo
part of the pyramid?
Golden, but that's the sugar.
That's right.
Is sugar on the food pyramid?
Yeah.
But also it would be great literature by any classic author. And even somebody that I don't like, I kept trying The Great Gatsby, even Vanity Fair by Thackeray, not my favorite, but I'm glad I read it. Anything that's still in print, I feel like deserves a chance, except maybe James Joyce or Albert Camus. I just don't like any of those, of that kind of stuff. But also this kind of stuff too.
Oh,
that just
so like
that helps me. Yes, that helps me figure things out, and theology too. I feel like we need to constantly be studying and trying to figure out what we're supposed to be doing, who we're supposed to be.
Can Martin speak now?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think what he thinks is that, you do have these categories of, because I haven't talked in so long that we've gone through 3 different subjects. So if I can go back.
That is not true. It's the same subject.
I think that I do think the diet analogy is the best analogy for this. That you do need to have a balanced reading life. But I'm sitting here thinking, I've been reading for work mostly for the last couple of months. So all the stuff I've been reading lately is for when I really need to throw some other stuff in there. I have not finished Henry James' Portrait of a Lady yet.
Oh wow, you've been doing that for years.
I was going to say,
I know.
Every single
it's been sitting there for 6 months.
Cawthron road trip, we hear about it.
Yeah, well, no. And I did, okay, talk about entertainment reading. Okay, so I have an article that's going to be in my book of essays that's coming out on the Harry Potter books. Because I wrote it like after the first one came out. So I'm looking at it and thinking, this is really out of date now. Because one of the comments made in there, is a quote from Harold Bloom, the literary critic, saying, well, they're good stories, but there's nothing underneath them. Well, I've been told by many people that as they go along, there is quite something underneath them. So I felt like I really need to read that series before I publish that book. So I've been voraciously reading those books and enjoying them.
Well, that's entertainment reading.
That is good entertainment reading. She's very inventive.
So you're balanced.
So we've got entertainment, nonfiction. Any other big categories that people would be like, I'm reading like
classic literature.
Yeah, okay. I have these like 3 or 4 books that I just do short sections out of. I try to do it every day, but that mostly doesn't happen. Plutarch, which is ancient history, basically. And then Edith Hamilton's mythology. I've been trying to get through that whole thing because I never quite finished it. I read one story out of that. I read one story out of that when I read it. And then there's another couple books that I do that with. But I bounce around a little bit because when I'm in something, when I'm in a particular book, I feel like I should be reading other things too. So I'm
and
That's
when you're,
my problem.
Jess, you're trying to come up with a diet.
And I guess what's underneath that is there a universal set of categories, or is it, because what it sounds like from you guys is it's not universal. It's personal to you to balance out the particular thing that you're reading.
Well, I try to read around a lot, so I'm getting a good balance. I mean, like right now, again, I'm into some work things, but
I would like to bring up though the Great Book series, right? Mm-hmm. Because in there's history, there's philosophy, there's science, there's math, there's literature. Is there some theology in there? There's some theology in there.
Yes, Augustine's in there.
And Aquinas is in there, I think. I mean,
Aristotle.
Well, if you could categorize him mostly as philosophy, but you could, yeah. And so I don't think I'm missing anything of the different genres that he has in there, right?
Aquinas.
And so you've got kind of 6 domains there that encompasses fiction, nonfiction. It's all in the sort of time-tested category, which to us today, I don't know, probably, I don't know, would half of it be something that's probably difficult to read?
Oh, at least.
Yes, at least. I'd say probably more than half.
Yeah. And so, but it gives you an idea of that if you're going to go pick up a book, right? Like if you're never reading anything scientific or you're never reading anything mathematical or you're never reading anything theological, you probably should try that out.
Ugh. Yeah. And I think that the breakdown they have is good. And the only weakness of the Great Books series is that there's not a lot of imaginative fiction. And that has become much more dominant since that list was put together. Well, and they had the 50-year rule before that. They wouldn't accept any book that wasn't at least 50 years old. So you're taking out a good hunk of the period when the novel becomes the thing. So you have to make an adjustment for that, but it's a great breakdown of the different kinds of books. I agree with that.
But it takes self-discipline. Yeah. It's much more fun to do the lighthearted reading, especially if you've got a job where you're working with words all day. It's really nice then just to have that time when it's like watching fluff TV, I guess.
Yeah, and see, you can only do so much of that. It's like eating Twinkies all the time.
That's right.
And you feel like I need something substantive now.
So, but does the substantive thing have to be really difficult? Because I am never going to read the French version of Count of Monte Cristo. Does that?
No, but it doesn't have to be. No, I think it can be.
Don't say that to Paul.
I mean, look at Jane Austen. Yeah. She's substantive, but not difficult to read. Okay. There's a lot out there that's great that isn't necessarily difficult to read, but there are definitely more difficult authors to read for literature.
But I would say also, though, this is why training of the affections and training of the ability to read are important, right? Because we keep talking about like all of a sudden, like if we read too much for entertainment, all of a sudden we feel like we need something else. But that's also because we've trained ourselves to recognize that need, right? People that eat Twinkies all day, every day, and they've done that since they were 5, don't recognize that they feel unhealthy, right? And some do, but some don't, right? And so my point being that there's not everything that you're going to read that is great has to be a slog, but in training yourself to actually read stuff that is hard, it actually becomes less and less of a slog. In the same way, I don't like salads. Okay. I just don't. And yet the more I eat salads, the easier it gets for me to eat one. All right. And which is healthier for me.
You could just eat green beans.
Both.
Green beans are great. Love green beans.
Well, there you go.
But
you don't have to eat a salad.
It's not raw kale.
Well, and
I think y'all are missing the analogy.
No,
I
get it. I'm reading, like I would, for me, I like green beans and a salad. So, but for you, maybe your salad would be, that you don't like, would be Camus. But your green beans would be
Graham Greene?
Yes.
Here we go.
there's so much out there that you don't necessarily have to read things that you don't like.
Well, and we
good
also have to
point.
remember, you say Jane Austen, you used as an example of something that's easy to read. For a lot of people, that would be very difficult to read, because you have to, that enjoyment, it's like anything else in life. You have to cultivate your ability to do it before you can really enjoy it. That would be the case with food. If you hadn't eaten green beans, that'd be a weird thing to eat.
Cultivate is a great word. And practice, the practice of reading.
The practice of it. It has to be a habit.
Would you say your reading diet is balanced? Mine isn't. You've heard what I've been reading modern junk lately, but also sometimes it's just season of life.
Well, I think
life is a lot, and I just need to rinse my brain out at night, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not proud of it, but
no. But I think you're right. I think that's a very good point. Is that we aren't necessarily reading like he's reading a lot of stuff for work now. Well, this is our travel season. It's his speaking season.
Yeah.
So it's he needs to do this, but he may get to July and be totally finished with it and just need a month of James Lee Burke. And that's okay. I think when we say balanced reading, it doesn't mean you have to be reading all of these things at the same time.
That is helpful to hear.
I think you can, but I think if you do read, if I read nothing but murder mysteries for a bit, I will get tired and I will be looking for something more.
All those murders.
Yes. I'll be looking for something more difficult, something challenging.
And I find if there's a season where I'm not reading much because farm's busy or whatever, life gets in the way, for me to get back into reading, it's good for me to grab something like
James Lee Burke.
New. Something like either if I was going to go there, C.J. Box or a Sabatini novel or even for me, like you talking about how hard Sir Walter Scott is. Like I love his stuff. Like just because it is more of it's
because you're used to reading harder stuff.
Yeah, but he fits in my category of sort of an adventure novel that I could start trucking through. And once I kind of do that, okay, as soon as that book's out of the way, I'm ready for something harder.
But you do have to recognize that Sabatini is much easier to read than Sir Walter Scott because Scott is more archaic language. It is more difficult.
He's writing a lot earlier.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the last Sir Walter Scott book I read. I was like, I love this.
Oh, well, I love it too. But
probably, but I haven't sat down and compared the two. You're probably right. But
yeah, I think the prose in Scott would be definitely more. If you're going to start somewhere, I would start with a Swashbuckler by Sabatini
sure.
and move to...
Yeah. I get nervous when Tanya's reading murder mystery. I feel like I have to watch my back.
You should. I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
That's funny. Is it for any of you? Is there a book you feel like you should be reading but you aren't? Or are you just in a season where you're like, nope, I'm
Portrait of a Lady for me. I've got to get back to that.
Yeah.
Well, and James is
not easy.
So utterly precise in everything. So it's not an easy read necessarily. Right.
But Mitchell gave me a book for Christmas years and years ago, and I was making good progress. I think not this past winter, but the winter before. And then spring came, and I put it down, and I was like, next winter I'm going to pick it up and finish it. And I didn't this winter. And so that's the one. It was called Independent People. I was very much enjoying it, but the print's small. It's tight. I mean, it is a fairly thick book. Which I mean, if it had been thicker and had less words on a page, I probably would have gotten through it faster. Just because
that does make a difference.
It makes a huge difference.
The other Bennett sister that I just finished that I loved that book, but the font is light and tight. Ooh. And there's not a lot of leading in between the lines.
Bennett sister?
The other Bennett sister, it's about Mary Bennett, and it's from her perspective. So the first part of it is like a retelling of Pride and Prejudice from Mary's perspective. And
is this a modern thing?
Yes. And then, but it's written, it is written in a very Jane Austen style. Like I think you would really like it. And then the second, once you get past that, which is maybe 100 pages or so. Then it goes into Mary's story after those marriages. So it would be post Pride and Prejudice.
That's a little much for me.
It's very good. I highly recommend it. It's one of the best books I've read this year. It may be the best book I've read this year.
Better than all those murder mysteries.
It was very much like Jane Austen's writing. She just did such a good job with the characters and the time period and all of it. It was just, I recommend it.
I need to finish my Henry James before I attempt this, but because I still have 2 or 3 Austen books I haven't read.
Oh, ever?
Well, I've seen like Emma. I've seen the movie. Sense and Sensibility. I've seen the movie.
Oh man!
But I want to do Sense and Sensibility.
Yes, I just did it, and I found out it's not really my favorite.
Really? Well, I love the movie. It's my favorite of the movies.
Really?
Oh yes. Yes.
Well, our reading lists are always long.
They are. What have you not read that you feel like you should?
Well, I
read?
told the world on one of our episodes for what we're going to read in 2026 that I would tackle Little Women. It's April, and I haven't touched it.
Oh, that's okay. You've got 8 months.
Can I do it in 8 months? It's a thing.
And the School of Drama Troupe is doing it. So that should be your
the HLS
motivation.
spring play is
Oh,
Little
you
Women.
should definitely read
Start it.
Yeah, go ahead and start it when you finish The Women. You can read Little Women.
And I bet I used to just really not like the audiobook format, but that one might be one that I can kind of go back and forth between the book and the audiobook.
Maybe so.
Might get me through it a little faster.
I think because it is a book that was written for younger people, I think you'll speed right through it.
Okay.
It's not complicated. It's a simple story.
Yeah.
I think I think you'll find that you can get through it pretty easily.
Yeah. Well, I hope people leave this episode encouraged, because what we're really saying is read what you like, balance it out with the things that you know are going to be refining, challenging for what that means to you.
Challenging, right.
Yeah.
Don't start too high. Don't try to read James. If you haven't read Austen, start with something a little easier and then work your way up to more difficult. That's what I had to do.
And that saves your momentum too.
Right. That's right.
Because it's true. When you do read something that for you was an accomplishment, you do feel more capable every time.
Absolutely.
I remember I was reading something, I've told this story before. I was reading something really difficult and I ran into you, Martin, in the break room at work. And I said, every single paragraph, I just forget and I have to reread it. And I get 2 pages in and I have to go backwards. And it took me forever to read this book. And you said, you need to keep going. And I did. Anyway.
If you want any more good advice on anything, really, just let me know.
You're one desk away upstairs. That's funny. Oh, well, thanks for sharing what you're reading, guys. It's always good to hear the things that challenge each of us individually. And thank you for joining us. We'll be back next time. Thanks for joining us today on Classical Etc. by Memoria Press. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, or share this episode or comment. We love to hear your questions and your comments. If you want to learn more about Memoria Press, please go to memoriapress.com. This has been Classical Etc. We're so glad you joined us, and we'll see you next time.